Welcome, students. In the last class, we did chapter 1, Mr. Toad's Adventure. Today, we'll do some reference to context based on the chapter, and we'll also do the meanings of important words and phrases. Alright, so let's start with reference to context. The first reference to context is, "There cannot be any harm," he said to himself, "in my only just looking at it." These are the lines which are taken from the chapter. Now the first question is, who is the speaker? Answer would be, the speaker is Mr. Toad. What is the speaker doing at the moment? The answer would be, the speaker, Mr. Toad, was inspecting the car at the moment. Alright. Where was the car located? The car stood in the middle of the hotel yard. Next reference to context is, he was living his hour reckless of what might come to him. Who is he in these lines? He is Mr. Toad. What is he doing at the moment? He is driving the car in full speed at the moment. What do you understand by the line, he was living his hour reckless of what might come to him? He was driving the car in full speed. He was enjoying the drive, and he was driving it in such a manner that he wasn't even aware of what would be the consequence of driving so fast. Next reference to context is, "Mr. Clark, will you tell us what is the very stiffest penalty for such kind of offense?" asked the chairman. Now the first question can be, who is the chairman? He is the chairman of the court of law. Who is Mr. Clark? Mr. Clark is a member of the court of law. What is the chairman asking Mr. Clark? The chairman is asking Mr. Clark to suggest what penalty should be meted out to Mr. Toad. Mr. Toad was found guilty of doing what offense? So you will say, Mr. Toad was found guilty of stealing a car, driving it dangerously in full speed, and being rude to the police. So these are some reference to context which we have taken from the chapter. Now let us take some word meanings. One is stern. Stern means serious. Now this word has come in the chapter. I'll repeat the sentence. A chubby cop with a handlebar mustache approached him with a stern look on his face. So here there was a policeman who caught hold of Mr. Toad, and he had a stern look, that is serious look on his face. Next word is cheeking. Cheeking means disrespecting someone. He was found guilty of stealing a car, driving dangerously, and cheeking the police. Next, tot up. Add numbers to calculate. Those figures, if added together correctly, tot up to 20 years. Here the reference is being made of the number of years for which Mr. Toad was to be imprisoned. Inn, as you know, is a restaurant. So he marched into an inn, ordered the best luncheon. So here Mr. Toad in the beginning of the chapter had gone to the inn. Sauntered, to walk in a relaxed manner. As soon as he got outside, he sauntered round quietly to the inn yard. Why did Mr. Toad go outside? Mr. Toad went outside to inspect the car. Lord of the Lone Trail, king of the street. Mr. Toad, the terror, the traffic queller, the lord of the lone trail, before whom all must give way or be smitten. The Lord, Mr. Toad felt like the lord of the lone trail when he was driving the car in the full speed. We'll take up some other words. Minions of the law. Minions of the law mean here in the chapter policemen. Then the brutal minions of the law fell upon the hapless Mr. Toad. Once the punishment was announced for Mr. Toad, he was carried by the policemen to the prison. Hapless, unfortunate. So here, who's unfortunate? Mr. Toad is unfortunate when he was found guilty and he was given 20 years of imprisonment. Then grim. Grim is unpleasant. He passed under the frowning archway of the grim old castle. So obviously an old castle where he was to be imprisoned would appear as unpleasant to Mr. Toad. Men at arms, soldiers. He passed men at arms in casket of steel, darting, threatening looks at him. So these were soldiers. Then we have vile. Vile means morally bad. Wake up and take over from us this vile Toad, a criminal of deepest guilt and matchless artfulness. So vile Toad. So the police is referring to Mr. Toad as the vile Toad. Why? Because he was found to be morally bad. He was found to have committed a crime. Artfulness means cunning. A criminal of deepest guilt and matchless artfulness. Cunning. He is found to be cunning. Ward. Watch and ward him with all your skill. Ward means guard him. Next is remotest dungeon. Remotest dungeon, as I told you in the earlier class, is an underground prison in a castle far away. Mr. Toad was a helpless prisoner in the remotest dungeon of the best guarded keep of the stoutest castle in all the length and breadth of merry England. Stoutest means strong. So these are some references to context which we have taken up from the chapter. There is a worksheet also, so try to write the answers of the reference to context and learn the word meanings which will be given in the worksheet. Thank you.